This is the Extreme Stewardship Podcast, where we explore anything and everything that gets us better at making things good and good at making things better. In the last series, I went a little deeper into the theology of leadership. Leadership is a critical component of work because work is improving creation, and leadership is getting the next generation ready to improve creation. But improving creation isn't the only thing God created us to do. God also invites us to enjoy creation. And if improving creation is work, enjoying creation is rest. So in this next series, I'm going to take us on a little journey into the theology of rest. This is episode 1 of this series, where we make the all-important distinction between rest and laziness. Here's an idea. Go on a diet. In fact, let's not call it a diet. Let's call it a fast. A fast from a whole bunch of things, like all the things you normally eat. No meat, no vegetables, no grains, no dairy, no pastas, no dessert. It all goes. And what's left, the one thing you're going to eat during this fast, is Cheetos. That's it. Just Cheetos. Okay, I'll give you some Oreos and a few Doritos to balance things out. Any takers? I mean, besides the fact that I'm having diarrhea just thinking about it, no one anywhere ever has used the word fast to describe giving up the healthy food they normally eat and exchanging it for a pure junk food diet. The only thing fast about that will be my rate of approach toward diabetes. No one in their right mind would consider eating only Cheetos a fast. But watch this. To fast from something means we give up a good thing, temporarily, in order to create space to receive or anticipate receiving a better thing. So we fast from food, for example, in order to be reminded that we live not by bread alone, but by the sustenance of God's Word. Being hungry and redirecting that hunger toward God integrates our appetites because it redirects a lesser need, a legitimate need, but a lesser one. It redirects that need toward a greater need. Sometimes during Lent or Advent, I fast from podcasts and listen to an audio Bible instead. Podcasts are good. I love podcasts. I hope you love this podcast. But for a season, I turn off one good input to make room for a better one. And that's the real point. A fast is from something good toward something better. And that's why the Cheetos diet is not a fast. Fasting is not saying no to good things so we can say yes to bad things, but saying no to good things so we can say yes to better things. So why are we talking about this? We're talking about this because fasting from normal food and eating only Cheetos is what many of us do when we fast from work. Because that's what rest is. Rest is fasting from work. It's fasting from a good thing, improving creation, to redirect our appetites toward a better thing, and that is enjoying creation. And the problem is that we think rest means 9 hours of NFL Sunday, beer in hand and chips on lap, or maybe it's binge-watching Netflix until 3 o'clock in the morning, filling our stomachs or brains, our lungs or our veins, with whatever lets us leave the dirty world of work behind and live in an alternate reality for a while. And I'm telling you, that's not rest. That's the Cheetos diet. That's setting aside all the good that we've done to ourselves and to the world around us and replacing it with garbage. That's not enjoying creation. That's destroying creation. Laziness is destroying creation. Rest is enjoying creation. Sometimes it's that simple. Sometimes it isn't that simple. Sometimes the exact same activity might be laziness and might be rest, depending on the situation. So how do I know which is which in any given moment? How do I know if I'm resting or being lazy? Well, maybe the first question is, have I made a commitment to be working right now? If I'm on the clock on the job, I'm supposed to be working. If I'm not working, that's laziness. Taking a long walk in the woods on my day off is rest. Taking a long walk in the woods in the middle of my shift is laziness. Getting on social media when dinner's cleaned up and the kids are asleep might be rest. Getting on social media when I'm in the office prepping for class is laziness. Now, this gets a little more complicated when you have a lot of freedom, like I do, in terms of when exactly the work gets done. I'm a professor, so somewhere between 10 and 20 hours of my week are spoken for at precise times. Classes, meetings, those sorts of things. The rest of my work week is more or less mine to structure. I have plenty to do, but I don't have externally imposed discipline on the sequence in which I do it. Maybe I grade papers on Mondays and prep for classes on Wednesdays. Maybe I flip that around. No one cares as long as both tasks get done. Maybe I get to the office early and spend evenings with my family, or maybe my family does stuff together in the mornings and I get my work done after they go to bed. As far as rest and laziness are concerned, it doesn't really matter as long as the work gets done. So another question worth asking is simply, is the work getting done? Because it's fundamental to the distinction between rest and laziness that rest only happens after work. I don't mean after all the work gets done. The work is never completely done. The basic sequence is that we work, and then we rest, and then we go back to work, rather than doing all the work and then enjoying all the rest. But if day after day, week after week, I'm not getting the work done that needs to be done, there's at least a chance that what I'm calling rest is actually laziness. Take sleep, for example. I'm working through some material on sleep science right now, and one of the things I'd never really thought about is that we go through a basic cycle of damaging our bodies while we're awake and then healing them while we're asleep. So when I work out, I'm not getting stronger, I'm getting weaker. But then when I sleep, my body heals itself and comes back even stronger than before I damaged it by exercising. So sleep is critical because it allows me to recover from everything I did to my body while I was awake. But the right amount of sleep and the right kind of sleep has me up the next day more ready to get after it than I was the day before. Rest begets the desire and the ability to work. Laziness doesn't. Remember the last time you scrolled through social media looking for that one last post that would somehow scratch the itch and have you just ready to get back to work? It never came, did it? That's because laziness doesn't lead to work. It just leads to more laziness. So maybe that's another critical question here. After whatever restful thing I've done, whether sleep or long walks in the woods or a movie or whatever, am I more ready or less ready to get back to work? If the answer is less, that's laziness. If the answer is more, that's rest. One last question. What am I avoiding right now? This one's a bit different because if avoiding what I ought to be doing right now is a form of laziness, I can actually be lazy while working. Writing emails when I should be having a face-to-face conversation. Brainstorming next year's classes when I should be grading this year's exams. Staying at the office when I should be facing the mess I've created at home. It looks like I'm working, and maybe I am, but I'm also avoiding work that, for whatever reason, is what I ought to be working on in the moment. There's not going to be a one-size-fits-all here. Some of us succumb too easily to the tyranny of the urgent and never see the big picture. Some of us live in the dreaming stage and never quite get around to finishing the job. I am the chief of sinners here, and there's no way I even know all the right answers, never mind act flawlessly on them. But here are a couple of things that come to mind as far as resisting the pull toward the laziness of not doing the particular task that I should be doing right now. First thing that comes to mind, my conscience is usually, not always, it's usually a reliable guide. If something in the back of my head tells me I ought to be doing something, and that something has been on my plate for quite a while but somehow keeps getting kicked down the list, I probably need to stop what I'm doing and go take care of it. Second thing, if there's something on my list that doesn't cater to my strengths but needs to get done, and I know that I don't want to do it, I probably need to stop what I'm doing and go do it. Third thing, if I justify in my head why I'm not getting something done, and I know that my justification is dumb, and there's no way it would hold if I articulated that justification to another person, I probably need to stop what I'm doing and go take care of it. I'll finish this episode with this. There's a better than average chance that I'm avoiding some particular task right now as I write this, and there's a better than average chance that you're avoiding some particular task right now as you listen to this. So I'm going to stop right now, get up from my desk, figure out what it is that I'm avoiding, and go do it. And I hope you'll turn off this podcast and do the same. Thanks for listening to the Extreme Stewardship Podcast. My name is Michael Kibbe, and I teach Bible and theology at Great Northern University in Spokane, Washington. My behind-the-scenes partner in this project is my brother, Ben Kibbe. Our editor-in-chief is Liam Olmsted. Art comes from Leah Lienhoutz, and of course, music is provided by Dave Murray of Daradoon Guitars. If this series has been helpful or challenging to you, or if you've got a story about extreme stewardship that you'd be willing to share, shoot us an email, extremestewards@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. You are, of course, welcome to like and subscribe and tell your friends and all that. What we really care about is that you have gotten better at making things good and good at making things better.